Pokemon!
It's Pikachu! It's Montycore. That's right. I'm back with another Borderlands 2 challenge, and today I'm trying to find out how long it takes to collect an item from every weapon manufacturer in a challenge I'm calling Arms Race. I'm starting on a completely fresh save, and the stopwatch won't stop until I've collected an item from every manufacturer and have them sitting safely in my inventory. And honestly, going into this challenge, I had absolutely no idea how long that would take. So let's start the clock and find out together as we get underway in this arms race. For this challenge, I decided to stick to the base game and avoid any DLC shenanigans. Southern Shelf contained a couple of weapon chests that could go a long way towards completing the manufacturer's checklist, so it seemed like the perfect place to start. The first order of business was escorting Claptrap to the Eye Doctor, better known as Knuckle Dragger, who promptly removed his eye and ran off with it. Luckily for the little robot, I agreed to help retrieve it. And as a reward, Claptrap handed me my very first weapon of the run, and more importantly, my first manufacturer, Dahl. Only 7 more to go. After watching Claptrap repeatedly walk into a wall for my entertainment, we continued through the frozen wastes in search of his missing eye. After clearing a few Bullamongs out of the way, we finally managed to catch up to the Eye Doctor himself. Unfortunately for me, Knuckle Dragger had decided that one eye wasn't enough and attempted to take mine as well, so I put him down. With Knuckle Dragger defeated, Claptrap got his eye back, and I got something even more important. A new manufacturer. Jacobs. 2 manufacturers down, 6 to go. The only problem was that we were already 8 minutes into the challenge and I was starting to have my doubts. Southern Shelf was great for Bandit, Dahl and Jacobs gear, but I wasn't convinced that Hyperion and Malawan items could even spawn in the area. As we continued on, I reached the first weapon chest of the run and eagerly opened it. Unfortunately for me, it was another Jacobs. Not exactly what I was looking for. Undeterred, I continued through Liarsburg, clearing out bandits and Bullamongs until I eventually met Sir Hammerlock, a much more qualified eye doctor than Knuckle Dragger, who was finally able to fix Claptrap's eye. During all of this, I smacked an ice mound and a weapon popped out. Another bloody Jacobs. At this point, Jacobs was doing a fantastic job of helping me complete a challenge that required 7 other manufacturers. I stupidly decided to sell some weapons in the vending machine and ended up selling my Dahl gun, taking me back down to only 1 manufacturer. But after powering up the town, Hammerlock sent me off to deal with the remaining Bullamongs, and this time my luck changed. One of them dropped a new weapon, and more importantly, a new manufacturer, Hyperion. One of the manufacturers that I was actually worried about finding in Southern Shelf is now ticked off the list. After turning in both completed missions, I was rewarded with not 1, but 2 new manufacturers. The first quest gave me a Teor shield, while the second rewarded me with a Vladov assault rifle. Just like that, I was up to 4 out of 8 manufacturers and still under 20 minutes. At this point, I had a new idea. What if quest rewards were the key to completing this challenge? To test my theory, I picked up the Shielded Favours quest and headed over to the Gateway Harbour in search of the elevator Hammerlock had mentioned. Unfortunately, Claptrap had already been there and broke it, meaning I now had to find a replacement fuse before I could continue. Luckily, the bandits next door had exactly what I needed, and after a brief negotiation involving several bullets, I acquired the fuse and returned to the elevator. At the top, I completed the quest by purchasing a shield from the vending machine. Now before I get accused of cheating, I made sure to buy a TDR shield, a manufacturer that I had already collected. No free manufacturers today. This is where my Borderlands 2 knowledge finally came in handy. I knew that there was a hidden chest on the rooftop above me, so after some questionable parkour, I managed to reach it and crack it open. And inside was exactly what I was hoping for. Torg. And more importantly, another Dahl, replacing the one I'd accidentally sold like an idiot. That brought the checklist up to 6 out of 8. Only Bandit and Malawan remained. I returned to Liarsburg and turned in the quest. Sadly, no new manufacturers here. With that, I grabbed Claptrap and continued along the main story. After clearing out yet more bandits on the way to Boom Boom, one of them was kind enough to drop a bandit weapon, which meant only 1 manufacturer remained, Malawan. At just over 25 minutes into the run, I was feeling pretty good about my chances. Then I reached the area before the boss fight and spotted another weapons chest. And I opened it. there it was, Malawan, the final manufacturer, and the timer has stopped at 27 minutes and 37 seconds. At first, I was pretty happy with that. I was dropping all my weapons on the floor to show them off and do a little outro, but then I looked at the timer again. 27 minutes. Surely I could get it below 25. So naturally, I started over. While I prepare for another attempt, if you're enjoying this video so far and want to see more Borderlands 2 challenges, consider subscribing. Right, enough talking, let's see if I can break 25. Going into my second attempt, I knew exactly where I had wasted time. The route itself was largely the same. Claptrap handed me another dial weapon, which I made absolutely sure not to sell this time, and Knuckle Dragger once again donated a Jacob's weapon to the cause. Unfortunately, one of his Bulamong friends decided to launch me off a cliff, costing me precious seconds as I had to run round again. Not an ideal start. Despite that, I still reached Liarsburg with a whole 15 seconds ahead of my first attempt. 15 whole seconds. Clearly I was on world record pace. Things only improved from here. A Bulamong dropped a bandit weapon before I had even entered the town, and shortly afterwards a bandit dropped a TDR shield. I was already halfway through the challenge and I hadn't even met Hammerlog yet. By the time I restored the power to Liarsburg and cleared out the remaining Bulamongs, I had picked up yet another TDR shield and received the Vladov assault rifle from the mission reward once again. This is where I decided to change the route. During my first attempt, I had returned to Liarsburg to hand in every quest I completed. This time, I realised there was no point in actually turning in the Shielded Favours quest because it never rewarded a weapon. Instead, I could head straight for the next chest and potentially finish the challenge much faster. After a very brief negotiation with the bandits guarding the replacement fuse, I grabbed it and sprinted back to the elevator, avoiding every fight. Speed was a priority now. I completed the quest, attempted my rooftop parkour and immediately fell all the way back down to the bottom. Fantastic. After calling the elevator back down and trying again, I finally reached the chest. Inside were two manufacturers I still needed, Malawan and Torg. At this point, only one manufacturer remained, Hyperion. I sprinted to the next chest, opened it, and just after the 20-minute mark was greeted by 3 TDR shields. Not ideal. I decided that rather than continue on, I would quit the menu, load back into the game, and try again. 3 more TDR shields. At this point, the sub 25 minute was starting to feel less and less likely. Still, I didn't give up. One more reset, one more chest, and this time, jackpot. A Hyperion weapon, the final manufacturer that I needed. The timer this time stopped at 22 minutes and 55 seconds, nearly 5 minutes faster than my first attempt. And with that, I will call the challenge over with my sub 25 minutes. Honestly, I was actually surprised how much time I'd saved between the first and the second run, and now I'm curious on how far this challenge can be pushed. So if you decide to try this challenge yourself, let me know in the comments. I'd love to see if any of you can try and beat my time. And if you do, tell me the route you used because there's almost certainly time to save somewhere along my run. And hey, if you want to catch me live, I stream every Thursday over on Twitch, where I'm usually attempting some other challenges like this one. But that's all from me, have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.